feel like my favorite thing about like owning a podcast is like knowing that anyone could be listening no matter where and in whatever country. But no matter what you're doing, I mean, also either walking down the street, in the office, that's so amazing. I don't think this is an original thought though, because probably those people have thought about this too. I'm not the first, but still, I just wanted to say it. But anyways, we're gonna be talking about Tastefully Yours. Yeah, and guys, the only time I remember when you guys, because it's funny, a lot of times when I record these episodes, yeah, you guys hear my voice go from low to high. The only reason it does is because sometimes when I'm recording these, it's late at night. So that's the only reason. Like, I'm always recording these at like 1 a.m. and then it doesn't matter what time you guys are listening to this, but you don't know when I've recorded it. So yeah, moving on. Tastefully Yours. Even, what was it? I even was doing my, what was it? I was doing my, like my list, because I've told you guys about my list before. I think in some of the K-drama episodes, I've stated that I have a 2025 K-drama list that's obviously ongoing, and I'm trying to challenge, well, it's my goal. I think we should have goals in life, right? But it's my goal to beat my watches from last year, which I do believe was 17. I think I said this last time, but I can't remember if it is 17, because I remember when I was writing it, there was 2 that I missed out, but I think it was 17. But we're doing really well as of this year. And Tastefully Yours, obviously, I wouldn't say, actually, no, it wasn't the most recent, but it was the one before. The last K-drama, obviously, I just finished watching was 9 Puzzles. I may or may not, but then, actually, I don't know. I may or may not do an episode on that, but I don't think I will, actually, because I feel like with 9 Puzzles, yeah, I don't even want to, actually. Like, 9 Puzzles was so good. And if you've seen it, then you already know what I'm talking about. But I kind of want to do one with, for Tastefully Yours. I think probably that isn't getting much, I don't know, like not getting much conversation sometimes. So, because sometimes I feel like with K-dramas anyways, it's quite mixed, it's quite vast. Sometimes you hear of some, oh my god, I didn't know I reached 100 followers on that box. But anyways, sorry, moving on. So yeah, sometimes you, okay, no, fine, Tastefully Yours was the most recent. But anyways, yeah, sometimes, like, you don't always remember, yeah, the K-dramas that you watch. Yeah, but so sometimes, obviously back to my original point, sometimes you hear of some dramas being talked about and some not. So I feel like Tastefully Yours is more one that you haven't heard much about. But 9 Puzzles is. Like, I've been seeing 9 Puzzles everywhere. Like, I think, yeah, I was even trying to, what was it? I was trying to dodge 9 Puzzles spoilers, but with Tastefully Yours, there's not been any. And my main thing of doing this episode actually was going to be talking about how K-dramas are getting shorter these days, which I remember somebody saying in a TikTok that, or, oh, sorry, I did the TikTok, which obviously you guys can follow my personal TikTok page, not the podcast one, but the, like, my main one, but where someone said they don't mind that, the K-dramas are getting shorter, even though I do believe that it's not good that they are. Like, a lot of them are getting shorter and shorter these days. And even when I was drafting up this episode, it was that I was kind of noting down the ones right now that are basically short and that you have them for less time. I think, like, I'm not mad about 9 Puzzles being short because it had 11. I'm not so like mad at that. I mean, of course it had 11 and that was Disney Plus, so you're also like, okay, it's not too bad. And yeah, because I was mainly thinking of it being a Netflix issue, but I don't really think it's a Netflix issue. It probably could be, yeah, it could be a K-drama issue more so anyways, because I know I wanted to point fingers at Netflix, but then I realized it's misdirected But I don't know. I think with Nine Puzzles, I think people are saying they hope that Nine Puzzles gets season two, even though a lot of the thing is that lots of shows don't, like lots of K dramas don't get season twos a lot of the time. Only if, I don't know, only if they feel like it's really necessary, but they don't really sometimes do it. Like even how I think recent news that came out was that Judge from Hell was getting a season two, and I didn't expect for it to get one, to be honest. But then I think when I was talking to my mum who likes K dramas, that like what was it? Yeah, I was saying to her that like obviously Judge from Hell finished on a cliffhanger. So I was like, of course, they were going to do it that way. And then also there was another drama I watched recently this year as well, which was Flex Cop. And I think Flex Cop is also getting a season two as well. So I guess it always depends. And I think it always depends on like, I guess, yeah, if they feel like they have more story to tell. Even though I was really surprised at the fact that another one, for example, which is Resident Playbook only had 12. So I was surprised to find out that they cancelled Resident Playbook like only 4 episodes in, and I was surprised because it was also getting good, like it was getting good like noise, I thought. Or then maybe I felt like I was enjoying it a lot, so maybe then it was like maybe lots of people weren't, but then they obviously said that yeah, they weren't really getting high ratings. And I guess because Resident Playbook was like a what do you call it? Yeah, a sequel, not a prequel, but like a sequel, because obviously it was like linked to Hospital Playlist. I kind of assumed that it would have a longevity in it. Like there would be another season to follow, but obviously that was not the case. And it was just one. But I just think it's so odd that they are getting shorter these days, and like it makes you feel like you have less time with them. And like I don't know, like 16's episodes should always be the bar. Of course, when I first started watching K-dramas, I know that they did vary, and it's the same way that like I've always thought this, like how K-dramas and both animes, like them together, they both do vary as well. Like a lot of them, like animes, you can know that they can be really long or they can be really short, and there's no in between. That's basically how it goes. So it's either that with an anime you either get 8 or you get 8, 12, or like 100. Like honestly, that's basically it. And then I actually know, because it's 8, yeah, so it's 8, 12, 100 or more, like yeah, like, or just in between that big mark. And you guys might even think when I said that that's a huge margin, but it really is 8, 12, 100, because then I guess when I think about how Monster had 76 or something, like it's between there. They either go in that like margin, or then they go outside of 100 as well. Do you know what I mean? For example, cough cough, One Piece. But anyway, moving on, because it's just like, but it's just weird, because I just mean like K-dramas are obviously doing that now too, like more so, because then you expect a K-drama to basically mainly have 16, if anything, and then you also think of it to have I think, like, I feel like with K-dramas a lot of the time, a lot of the long episodes are more so like known to be in costume dramas or something like that. Or how so this is what I mean when I said, oh yeah, I don't want to point fingers at Netflix. It's true, because they did have they did have a long drama on there recently, which was obviously Iron Family. So yeah, I spoke about Iron Family a little bit because it was in my April watches already. So they had Iron Family on there, and Iron Family had like 36 or something. So it's very, very strange. Yeah, and I don't know like what the solution is. It's just I think basically with how my main point is that I think I do feel disappointed in, yeah, with Tastefully Yours anyways, in what we're talking about, because there could have been more from it. I meant because it was literally only 10. And I just think like, yeah, they could have done more. And then I don't know, you guys might want to be like to me and put the spotlight on me and be like, what would you want from 5 more episodes? And we're like, well, I'd want a lot more. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You guys might look at it as, oh my gosh, we got enough. But hey, I always do think to myself anyways that like, I don't like it when things end anyway, even though they're supposed to. Duh. But like, of course, I do love it when something is very like long. Like, this is the thing. I do really enjoy that. And I think, yeah, I think I've said before, yeah, it's like, it's hard to say goodbye. Weird. Anyways, isn't it? I just quoted a song, I think. But yeah, like, it's weird. Like, of course, you're just like, oh, you don't want to say goodbye to the show. Because you don't want to say goodbye to the characters involved and all that stuff. Even in Tastefully Yours, for example, like, the show was so good because it had all these, like, themes of, like, community, and family, and then also character development, because Hangwoo obviously changes in the story. So, and I guess they kind of felt like, well, yeah, they could wrap it up in 10, which, yeah, they could. Like, this is the thing. I always think to myself with shows, yeah, or K-dramas, it's like, just because you can, doesn't mean that you should. Yes, you can wrap it up in 10, but, like, add a little bit more sprinkle on. Do you know what I mean? Just a little bit more. I don't know. In my head, I'm like, oh, am I just reaching? Maybe would I have wanted to see, oh no, like John Jay grow, but then also I guess it didn't need to grow anymore because it had already got its star that it needed. So it was already a thriving business. So, and it was going to continue to be. And obviously the main couple, yeah, they were great. And I guess this is what I mean. I don't know. It makes you feel like, what else are we asking for? But I do think the point that I am mentioning about the short thing, about K-dramas getting shorter, is pretty valid. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I just mean like a lot of the ones as of late are coming out and they are shorter than they usually are. Which is strange because that's just not usually how it is. So that's what I mean. I won't discredit my statement or retract it because it still stands, even though do feel like, yes, Tastefully Yours did wrap up in a good way. It's just I want K-dramas to go back to how they were. Basically, I want them to go back to how they were, and I want them to be longer. Like 10 like shouldn't surprise me. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't. And I don't think that it's right. But enough about that. Because, anyways, when I do this, sometimes I don't want to rant for too long because obviously I'm just like, yeah, they're short, but what can you really do? Like, is it going to get better? We don't really know. I think they're going to keep bringing out, like, new dramas, and they'll either they'll do them how they fit, like they choose to do. So yeah, and see, I was just checking something right before I carried on, was that Mercy for None also just came out, and I think Mercy for None came out on the like the other day. I can't remember what day it was, but it just came out recently, right? And it only obviously has 7. And see, there we go. That's another one where we're like, that's another short drama. And what's also interesting is because a lot of the dramas that are coming out right now also are limited series, a lot of the time, which is very interesting because they're only like, they're limited, so that means they'll be on there, but Netflix will take them off eventually. And I think that's very interesting, that why is it a lot of them are limited these days? And what does it mean? And when I say what does it mean, not even like we know what it means. It just means like what are happening to K-dramas, basically. That's what's happening with them. That a lot of them say limited series. It's very odd. Enough about that. Let me dive more into Tastefully Yours, of course. So I remember I'm gonna read out my review from on Letterboxd, which was yummy cuisine, cute rom-com, and weak hero reference. Plus not one, but two, three of them in the entire show. Yeah. And I won't even say I won't say who the last one is, but then obviously the main two people who were in it from Weak Hero was what's his name? Sun Woo. So he was playing Bom Woo's brother. And then you also have Chong what's his name? Chu Song or something. Yeah, the guy who comes into their restaurant through his other restaurant where he was working at with his dad, but he obviously joins their place because obviously he wanted to be a part of the gang, basically. Part of the gang, part of the club. But yeah. Yeah, obviously go Mincy. And I think remember when I was watching Tastefully Yours, I was like, it's so weird because the last thing I watched Mincy in was The Frog. So it was like to myself, I'm seeing her in such a sweet role. Even though I know that she is she's very versatile, I think, anyway, because she does play a lot of these. She plays, like, yes, these kinds of roles, like her in Tastefully Yours. Like, so it's very, very, like, soft and, like, I mean, lol, sorry. Her character wasn't even that soft in this, but just, you know what I mean? Like, the romantic love interest girl. So yeah, she plays those a lot. But then in The Frog, obviously, like, she was really scary in that. So it was a bit of a jump for me anyways. I think that's to be expected. You know, when you see someone in a role and it's just like, you think about them in that role, then it's like the next time you see them, you're like, wow, this is still you? Like, that's crazy. I think that's similar to, like, yes, you could even say that's similar to, like, Yoo Bin in this as well, because he was obviously just in Weak Hero, obviously, like I mentioned, and then he's obviously in this, and he's so much more, what do you call it? Like, he's the same. Like, I do feel like a lot of his roles are him playing what do you call it? Playing fools. Like, in The Weak Hero, obviously, he's playing a delinquent, right? But that's obviously, like, even in this, he's a bit like, yeah, even in this, again, he's a bit like a delinquent. So, but it was still more of a thing that, like, him being Tastefully Yours, he's less menacing than he was in Weak Hero. So, do you know what I mean? Because obviously in Weak Hero, he was really, really scary. And also, obviously, yeah, Bay Nara as well. He was obviously scary in Weak Hero, and in a way, he's scary in this as well. I feel like it's on the same kind of level, because I think, like, he just has this aura about him, though. Do you know what I mean? He has this aura about him. He gave that in Weak Hero as well. The way that he was able to do that small smirk, like, and to look so evil just by doing that. And then I guess in this, it was him just being like what was it? Stoic older brother, basically. That was basically it. A stoic older brother with glasses. And yeah. But you know, the whole premise of this show, yeah, and what really interested me, like, I just loved everything about it anyways. So, we all love food, right? So, and look, I guess even on Google it says why to watch Tastefully Yours, that it has a romantic culinary journey, exciting succession battle, which is true, but nah. Well, like, culinary visual feast, yes, and strong character dynamics. So obviously, exactly. So it says compelling character arcs, and that was my main thing, because I liked how obviously you have somebody who's from a, I don't know, yeah, rich lifestyle. He was doing this whole thing of where he was going around and stealing recipes, but he meets obviously Go Mincy's character, and then he's just, like, obviously he comes into this world, and now he can see how how normal people live. Do you get it? I do really love that. Like, that kind of story anyways is always great, because you want them to be able to come out and be like, do you know what I mean? I don't need all the flashy stuff that I thought I needed. Like, I don't need watches. I don't need cars. I also don't need to steal recipes. And obviously I just need community and I need people around me. And I think he saw that immediately as he got to is it what's the village called? I thought it was Hanwu Village or something. But when he got to down there, obviously he realized how much all of these people, like, they all help one another. Like, obviously he gets there, and then the guy who runs the butchers and also the guy who runs the veg, like the veg by your local veg, he obviously also they both help him out, do you know what I mean, in his time of need, and being somebody also in a new environment. And obviously he's shown, he gets given kindness, and then it's obviously like it's unknown to him, seeing as obviously his mother just cares about the business, and him and his brother are just kind of, they're competing. Like, what's funny is, what I thought about their relationship was that they were competing for the best restaurant, but they were also competing for who could look the best in their mother's eyes as well. Like, at the same exact time, that is what they were both like looking for, because they never had it. They never had it, and they never knew it. Like, it was not anything new. Like, honestly, I think what the mum says is that Hang Sang's her child, and that she doesn't see her children basically as her sons. They're kind of just I don't know, economic objects, basically, probably. Or she sees them as inheriting her business, but nothing else, though. So yeah, and it's like, of course, because I guess what it says on Google is that Han Bongwoo competes fiercely to inherit a major food company while exploring culinary artistry. So at first, that's what he wanted, but he realizes the bigger picture here, and that obviously the title is Tastefully Yours, in order to is that to make food for others, but make it for them to enjoy it, not because you want the product of it. Like, you want to reap the benefits. You want the person to say, oh, I really love this meal, by the way. And I think that's actually what this show taught me anyways, actually, in a way. Like, when it's like, okay, we're looking at a show and we're watching it, and we're like, we're enjoying the romance aspect, which is all the things that you want. Like, you're enjoying the comedy, tick, tick. But you also need to also look at the hidden message and what it's saying. And I think basically, obviously, it's saying that how important it is to tell people that you enjoy the food that they make. And also, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's made me see it in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, I don't know, like, it's weird. It makes me feel like I want to be not a critic, because it's like, no, I don't. I've always thought to myself, critic feels like, when you use the word critic, it can be used in sometimes the word critic feels like it's in a negative, like, kind of tone, or it just feels like it has negative connotations, because obviously when you're critiquing, your whole thing is to give feedback. So it's like, you kind of feel like no matter how you say it, it feels like it's offensive. But not that to be a critic, but I think that if you enjoy a good food, it's like, and I think actually we all do this anyways. Like, when you go to eat somewhere, I think it's like a thing that we all do. And I'm like, if you don't do this, I think it's like what people say about if you go out on a date with somebody and you see that they're horrible to waitress staff, you said, that this person's not right for you. Because I know that we all do this, where it's like, whenever we finish eating somewhere, we say thank you so much, and we're like, oh my gosh, and sometimes we leave a tip. Do you know what I mean? Because it's obviously a sign of respect, which is obviously what Tastefully Yours even touches on as well. It's like, you want the food to move them. Like, it's like a thing where you want the food to be not enjoyed, but enjoyed, but even more so, you want it to be enjoyed and congratulated, like, but just in a different way. But it's just, yeah, it's like that. So it's like it's a way of respect, of course. Obviously, that's what I'm saying about Han Bomu's character, is that he thought he wanted to inherit his mom's business, but all he really needed to do was just like, he needs to look at the grand scale and realize that how important it is to make meals for others, and how endearing it is for them to tell you that they enjoyed it, and to tell you that they'll also be back. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it's important to make food for others instead of the idea of a business. And I think that happens a lot. Like, you know, when I feel like when you're doing a business, sometimes it can more so feel like greed than the reason why you're actually doing it. Like, you know, that is a thing that does happen, and you probably like do get swept up in it. But it's more so, it's like, who are you doing this for, and what's the reason that you're doing it? And I think, what was it? So I guess what happens in it as well is, when Go Mincy's character makes that food for her boss, it's a way to like show that somebody will never forget the way that your food tastes. Yeah, so as I was saying, so obviously also my favorite, also in this story, is my favorite kind of rags to riches, but I guess in this scenario it's riches to rags. And I think riches to rags is way better than rags to riches, because, you know, when you think of that kind of story, you think of somebody like, I don't know, well, the most obvious one being Cinderella, of course. Like, she was there looking like, what's it called, cleaning up after her stepsisters and her stepmother. And obviously what happened was, she then decided to go to the ball, and then going to the ball helped her in order to meet her true love, and also show people who she was. Do you know what I mean? But it was that's rags to riches. But with Han Bambu's story, his is riches to rags, because of course we see him and we meet him, and it's like, we think he's so pretentious, so all of these things, and we think that, oh, look at him with his, I don't know, he had like a specific watch, and like his mum has that huge company, I think, was it called Hang Sang? Yeah, it's got that huge company, and then, you know, him and his brother are due to inherit it. So we're like, oh my gosh, you guys are in the best possible place that you could be. But obviously it's like, he needed to meet like these people that he met in order to realize what is important about life, basically. And 100% of what I said about riches to rags being better, I said yes, because I just feel like riches to rags is like, yes, it puts that person in a different perspective, and it makes them realize, oh my gosh, I don't actually need to be a snob. Like, it's not necessary to be a snob. I can actually just be a human being, and I can love others and have hopes that others will also love me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Secondly, also the best trope of all, honestly, because literally, you know, when you think about tropes and you think about which one takes the cake, it's definitely enemies to lovers. Just because, like, you hate each other, but you don't necessarily hate each other. You're actually very in love with each other, but you need the moment to get used to that person, and to also, like, I guess, their charm to rub off on you and stuff like that. But that's basically Han Bomos and Mo. I think her name was like Mo Me, or like Chief Mo. But so they both needed to rub off on each other. Like, of course, he comes there, of course, and he's like, oh yeah, I want to take over your restaurant, I want to do all this type of stuff. But then obviously he sees the way she cooks, and he sees all this stuff, and he's like, wow, she's amazing. And also, I think, did I say this already, but like, obviously it's like falls first. So like, I think it's always great when the guy falls first versus the girl, because it's like you always hear about a lot of these stories of where the guy falls for the, I mean, where the woman falls for the guy, right? First, but obviously in this instance, it's him falling for her first, and like he's giving her longing glances and she doesn't know, and she's like, oh, I don't want to like you. And then also she had her whole storyline of the fact of the matter is that she didn't want to date somebody who she was working with because she'd already done that. And I got her because it was like, been there, done that. I'd already been here where I'd already like dated somebody who I was working with, and that didn't work and that didn't go well because I suppose, yeah, dating anybody at work is not the best thing because it obviously causes conflicts, and then you just have all of this like, awkwardness and stuff like that. Even her meeting him, yeah, she thought he was pretentious also. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like the whole idea of when you meet somebody and you think that they are this person, but then when you pull back the layers a little bit, you realize they're not actually the person that they are presenting them to be, and they're actually quite nice. Like that's all that like she needed to see, and that obviously they were just. I think the main thing I really liked, yes, I think I said this already, was the community and friendship vibes, just all of that. Do you know what I mean? Just a team working together, trying to create a huge restaurant, and give food out to people, and make sure that they love it. And lastly, which was obviously basically just the whole premise, which obviously I think I spoke about it kind of, I'm going to dive into it a bit more, but that someone will never forget how your food tastes because you made it, and because it's made with love, and you can obviously tell that it is. And that was obviously Mo's trademark. She obviously made food that people loved, and it was like, it wasn't even a thing that she was good at cooking, which she was, but she just had a way of doing it rather than just doing it like and putting it together in a really boring way. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of putting the food together, but not putting it with any kind of feeling. I also liked her whole story anyways. Like, it's the fact that she was there with the monks, and then when she was there with them, it obviously helped her in order to learn how to cook, and also learn how to cook, also learn the importance of like, I guess also like, I guess when if you grow up somewhere like that, I guess in a monk area, like it's very like peaceful and like praying and stuff like that. So she was in a place like that, and so she was able to really get the most. And also, I think it did have that at the same time. So really, it's the idea of found family, basically, because she wasn't related to any of these people in the temple. So it's the idea of found family. And obviously you can also say that Hambombu, he found that too. Do you get it? Like, obviously that's what I'm talking about with his whole riches to rags. It's the fact that he then was able to find a second family in the family that he already had, which he wasn't getting much out of, but then he found himself with them in the restaurant, and that's obviously what it was, which is their pulling force, basically being able to come together and create something lovely. Of course, I started out this episode saying that, yes, K-dramas are getting shorter, this, that, and the third. They are, it's a fact, but hey, I do think it's very important anyways to, experience something no matter how long you have it for. It's even the idea of like, what's it called? Like short films, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if many people watch short films, but I think short films are good. Like, I think you appreciate them probably more because they're short. And I think that's the main thing with any short thing. I know at the beginning it was like I was complaining, which, hey, yes, I still agree with. I still think it's weird that K-dramas are getting shorter, and like, I guess it must be the stories are getting shorter. And I'm like, yeah, because this is what I mean. I started thinking about it, that it's like, oh, yeah, the stories are getting shorter, because you know that a show will go on if they have more story to do. So of course I was like that. But then I was also like, let's appreciate a show in its glory, like basically in its fact that it's been here with us. Oh, and that, like, obviously the main thing of what I said about Tastefully Yours is that it's able to remind us the greatness of food, like not just eating food to eat it, but like eat it. Like, I just mean, like, even when I was thinking about the fact, when I kept looking at the food on the show, like I was thinking about the fact that, like, as a person, it's like I have such a weird so I was gonna say weird relationship with food. That sounds weird, but I just mean as in, because like I'm picky. So I was looking at the food on the show, like, oh my gosh, like some of the food, yeah, I was like, oh, some of it looks nice. But then I also think the idea of fine dining is that, like, yeah, it appears to look more like they make the food look presentable, but is it really nice? Do you know what I mean? That's what I never really like about the idea of fine dining. And basically I was mainly thinking, I was like, oh, I don't think I would ever really it was weird. I don't think I would ever really have a fine dining meal, because I think, yeah, it would be too much for me, because being a picky fussy eater, it wouldn't really go down well. Like, I just mean to myself, oh, would I be willing to try? I don't know, and I don't think so. I think it's like with food, you want to find a comfort in a meal and you want to stay in it. Like, and like you don't want to really come out of that. You really just want to like stick with that meal. And like, but have like a few favorites, but just like not anything crazy. It was like some of the different foods, even Tastefully Yours, like there was all these different platings, and all these different kind of what do you call it, fusions, yeah, all these different fusions. Like, I think, like, obviously their restaurant, like Hamburg Moose, they were doing a lot of stuff where they were mixing different cuisines together. So they were doing a lot of like Korean and French, and it was like, oh yeah, that seems nice. But then it's like, no, I'm just like, I was like to myself, no, like it looks interesting, but I probably still wouldn't see myself eating it. So I was like, that's what also was good about Tastefully Yours anyways. It didn't just feel like, you know what I mean? But then again, I don't think a lot of dramas do just feel like, oh, they're just dramas. But I meant like, although you would think that, because it's like, oh, this is a drama about food, doesn't necessarily just feel like a drama about food. Like, it's the same way that which I can compare it with, because, and it would be, this is a good comparison, because they're both pretty much like, they both have food at their forefront, I feel like, because it's like Tastefully Yours and then also Potato Lab. And I think Potato Lab came out this year as well. Potato Lab had like, I think Potato Lab was also another short one too, now that I think about it. It was also short-ish. Like, it was like 12. Yeah, so it was 12, which is not bad. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, hey. I mean, Tastefully Yours had 10. Potato Lab had 2 extra. To be honest, you could think to yourself, with Potato Lab, I was like, do they need the next 2? But then again, I think they probably did. And I guess the main thing anyways with short dramas is that you feel like they're super rushed, even though they're not. But it's just like, I think you think to yourself, like, maybe because it must be familiarity. It's like a 16 drama K-drama will, like, they'll stretch out a show for as long as they can. Like, do you know what I mean? They'll do anything. And then also, I guess 16 dramas also do that thing where they follow the same scripture. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think 16s usually do like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a climax, like something bad's gonna happen, and like the penultimate one, and then 16, everything's gonna come together all the way. So it's like with the shorter ones, I don't really know, like, I don't really know what their kind of strategy really is. But like, obviously, they're just quite like, yeah, they either feel like, oh, they ever feel like they've been rushed, or they feel like there's more that could have been said. Either or, yeah. But I do feel like, anyways, with Potato Lab, onto that subject, is because yes, they were both short, but they both had that in common of the fact that Potato Lab wasn't just about potatoes. And it was just like, you know what I mean? You're just like, surface level, we think, oh, Potato Lab, and you just think, oh, it's gonna be about potatoes. But it was like, no, it was like really nice. It was really like heartfelt, and it was really like, even like how Tastefully Yours had that too, like very just comedic. Very like, it's like some dramas, sometimes I give them the idea of that. They would have the same sentiment as a slice of life anime, for instance. Like the kind of thing what a slice of life always has the same kind of what's it called, storyline of the fact that like you have two people who like they like each other, but they're also just like waiting for whatever. Then they have the big beach episode, and they have all of that, you know. That's the same kind of thing. And I think K-dramas also do that, like, you know what I mean, when they're kind of like slice of life. Because Potato Lab, obviously she's working in that lab, and then she meets that guy, and then the guy is he becomes her boss, and then it's like, oh, she's liking her boss, and then like she's liking her boss. He comes there, he's kind of like, he has to make some arrangement, he has to make some changes, and that's like the climax in the relationship. And you also have, I guess you also have the fact that she used to work at his business, and it's just like a lot of stuff like that. So it's just like, you know, these dramas, they have a lot of layers to them. So it's like, we never should really just take shows for what they say they are, or what they present themselves to be. We need to stay in it for the long run, even if ironic, it's not necessarily long, it's actually short. But you know, that's even better. I am surprised at the fact, though, and to end off, because obviously I am watching then, like, obviously I think I mentioned Mercy for None already, because it's obviously another one of the short dramas, but obviously I'm watching Mercy for None right now, and it's interesting because when I looked at it and I was like, oh, Mercy for None has 7, that was just like, I guess it wasn't to be expected. But then I thought to myself, sometimes these crime dramas, like, actually not really crime, but crime such violence, such action, like, a lot of them do have a short, like, a short lifespan, basically. A lot of them do. Like, aside from how, when I thought of Mercy for None, I thought of Buried Hearts, and how Buried Hearts had 16, and I was like, well, I don't really know. I was like, I don't really know. Maybe that's just not how they thought that they wanted to tell it. They more wanted it to be like, I think it's good sometimes, like, I guess when these are short anyway, and a show like Mercy for None, it's like you can binge watch it in probably a day, and I think that's obviously a good way to also go about it. That's why it's a very different, like, it's a very difficult conversation, because you're like, yes, do you want a show that you can binge, or do you want one that has more like longevity? And I think, like, obviously what I'm saying about Mercy for None is because it's action, it's like you do want it back to back to back to back, and you want it to be constant, right? Like, you want it to be constant, and you want it to have a gripping feel, plus like cliffhangers and all that great stuff, like all that great stuff that a show like Mercy for None needs. So it's like 7 is exactly it, because it's like 7 then is just like, you know, leaves you I guess wanting more. But then I think in any show, this is what I mean. When I think about the fact of short versus long, I think about the fact that maybe it doesn't even matter, because you're gonna want the show to go on. You're gonna want the show to go on any like, no matter what. So it's just the thing of like, you know, I'm just like, I guess what my main point of right now is that appreciate shows while you have them. That's the main thing. And then also, I guess the main thing is that what I said earlier about the fact that lots of these dramas coming out are limited series, is you basically have to watch them while their hair as well. Like, you have to watch them while they're here, while the iron is hot, or the longer you don't watch it, then when you next come to try to find it, it won't be here anymore. Like, the craziest thing was for me was when I was trying to look for Lovely Runner, and I don't think Lovely Runner was here for some reason. It was very, very weird. I was sure that Lovely Runner was on Netflix, and then obviously it must have got taken off. But then, exactly, I didn't really think about it. Maybe Lovely Runner was a limited series, and if it was, then obviously that's why it got removed eventually. But I don't know actually how long, like when they say limited series, how long they really do stay on there for. Like, I think it's the type of thing that they just play it by ear. I guess they just have it on there for a bit and then they take it off, basically. Which is, again, exactly, this is what I mean. Again, with the limited series thing, that's what I'm saying. Appreciate things while you have them. If you don't, then you'll miss out. But then I guess I say that, but you could also do illegal streaming. It's like, no. Imagine if it was like, no, don't blacklist me. But yes, I'm saying that you should. And I'm always your plug. Like, think of me as that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, as somebody who has a what's it called? So maybe someone who has a podcast like I do, it's like, yes, I want to make sure that I'm always giving you guys, I'm like giving you guys the best advice here. So it's like, yes, the show's a limited series, but it doesn't matter. You'll watch it whenever you need it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying about K-dramas. I think, like, every K-drama has a reason for you needing it. You need it at the right time or whenever you need it. And I guess a lot of us, like, even for me, we watch these dramas because they have our favorite actors and actresses in them. This is a great place to end off, by the way. So yeah, like, obviously what I mentioned about Go Minty, she was in The Frog, and I basically only ever seen her in The Frog. And then you have the guy who's playing Han Sung-woo. He's also from Squid Game. Obviously Squid Game is due to come out like this month, actually, in June. And then he's in the newest series of Squid Game, and so obviously he's kind of like, in a way, he's kind of the same. Like, I meant, like, how in Squid Game and how in Tastefully Yours, it feels like his characters are pretty similar, and that's what I was also talking about with the guy who's playing Chun Sung. Like, I was saying, he's also similar to his character of where we'd know him from Weak Hero. So it's like those two characters are also pretty similar too. So it's like, they're doing what they do best, right? being like, playing characters that you think that they would play, basically. Even how, I think it's the guy the veg guy, he was in my show, the drama that I watched, which was Miss Night and Day. So he was in that too. And that was a very funny drama as well. And so it's like, I know that, like, practically in a way, he does get typecast, but that's neither here nor there. But, like, as in, he's always playing funny characters. So I was also like, a lot of the people who were in it, like, it was like I wanted to watch it for them. And then I guess, the two main people, I wanted to watch it precisely for them. So I think, in a way, it's like there's so many different reasons why you'll decide to watch something in general. Do you know what I mean? You'll either watch it for the fact that the storyline interests you, or it will basically just be the people. Like, number one, it'll be the people, and I think that then number two, the plot will follow. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, like, number one, the actors is there and the actresses, and then two, you'll say, well, let's look at the plot. And you have to say, oh yeah, is this going to grab me? And it's like, why would food not grab us? Do you know what I mean? Like, we eat it every day. We eat it every day, and food is good and food is pretty. Like, I don't know what else, like, we would be don't know what else we'd be asking for, really. It's just kind of thing where we're just like, duh, like, we're like, of course, this is a show for us. And this is a show for you as well. So, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a show for all of us. So, yeah, watch Tastefully Yours. And thank you for listening. And see you in the next episode.